Hi, Taylor.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here, of course.
I'm excited you're here. I feel like this is how our sessions always start. We're just like the biggest smiles, like so happy to see each other.
I know it's like 100% the highlight of my week. So it's like the one thing I always have in my calendar that I'm like, yes, I have this. I have plans today.
I love it. I love you so much. So, for everybody watching, this is Taylor. She is one of my special clients. I love her so much. We literally, the first time we talked to each other, it was like instant spark and connection. So I'm really excited to do a client testimonial and just hear a little bit about your experience with Blush and our relationship and just all the fun things. So let's just dive right in. Tell us all like why you decided to join Blush in the first place.
Yeah, so I think 2020 was kind of a hot mess for everybody. Um, and in May, I graduated from college. I was living out in LA. I left for spring break and never went back because I had COVID. And it just like didn't make sense to go back to LA. It was a hot spot. So basically, all the plans I thought I had for myself post grad basically got crushed within like a few weeks. So I was like, obviously, that's going to affect you. And I think just being in my head so much, I was like, I literally am going crazy. I'm like at home all the time. I have nothing to do, nowhere to go, and like don't even know how to plan for the future, especially in times like right now. And I would try talking to a therapist, and they were like, yeah, you don't need therapy. Like, you're clinically fine. And I was like, okay, well, I definitely need some sort of help, but thank you for being honest with me. So
Yeah.
then that's when I started looking into life coaching or like career coaching, just some sort of coaching.
Uh-huh.
But once I met with a career coach, I was like, okay, it's like more than career. I kind of want something more, not like wholesome, but more like all around.
Yeah.
We can like just talk about life in general. So that's how I ended up finding Blush. I was reading like an online article that Callie, the founder, was doing an interview in, and I was like, okay, this sounds good. And that's how I came about it. And I've loved the experience so far. Like, it's definitely been such a benefit and like a great addition to my life.
Yeah, I love that. You're definitely not alone in just like the 2020 was just a shit storm, like, and I can say that because it was. So, I think that you're definitely not alone in that. I think, and just it felt like everything kind of stood still and we were all just kind of like, okay, what are we even supposed to do? So I'm so glad that you were able to like find Blush, and we had a consultation. So we did like a 15-minute consult together, and instantly I was like, oh my god, I have to have you. Like, I love you so much.
It's mine.
It's cool how you can like, it's so crazy, and it seems like weird, I'm sure, for people who have not experienced it, but it's cool how you can just like meet someone for 15 minutes and totally tell that you guys are going to like completely hit it off and get each other and just like be two peas in a pod. So I love that. I love that for us.
I know, me too. Once this is like all over, I'm like, I need to go to Texas. I need to like be able to hang out with you in person.
Oh my god, I can't wait for that day. That'll be so awesome. Okay, so tell us, like, when you were first starting out, like, in a perfect world, like, what were you hoping to get out of like the life coaching process and with Blush in general?
Yeah, so initially I really just wanted to start working with someone that hasn't been like invested in my life my entire life or like throughout college, like my friends have, or my friends from home that have known me since I was in middle school or elementary school, because I think that can bring a super beneficial perspective on like your situations, because you're kind of getting it from someone with like fresh eyes on like you and your story and kind of where you are today, and not taking into consideration who you were like a year ago or a few months ago. So I think that was my main thing, just really helping me step back from certain situations I'm in or something that I'm trying to decide on or figure out, and look at it from a different perspective that like my parents wouldn't give me or like my really close friends would give me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, everybody's biased in our life, right? And you mentioned like a really cool point of like approaching the work in like a snapshot of now, like in the present, and not really like taking into consideration like all the things of the past and like your relation, you know, like it's really cool because we're starting like today, right? And it's like present and future oriented. So really seeing like, okay, where you're at today, what are the hurdles you're gonna, you know, have to encounter to get to where you want to go, and really come at it from like a, like you said, fresh set of eyes and like a completely neutral, unbiased perspective. And like, for me, your best interest is what I'm, you know.
Right. No one else is like around you. Because of course, like most big decisions in your life, they're gonna affect your parents, your best friends, people that are super close to you every day. And obviously your life coach like becomes super close and super important in your life as you continue to work with them. But it's not like they're gonna be like directly negatively or positively impacted by like you moving somewhere.
Yeah. You're so right. That's so great. Okay, so what do you like most about Blush and the process?
Yeah, so I definitely liked in the beginning how user-friendly it was and how easy it was to sign up and get the ball rolling. It's not like you have to call into a place and like schedule an appointment and they're like, okay, we can't see you, or like you can't meet with a coach for a few weeks. Like I filled out an online like questionnaire, which Callie ended up reading to match me with you for our initial like 15-minute call, but it was within like 24, 48 hours. So it's like super instant gratification, which I love. Like you can get the ball rolling right away, which I think is amazing, especially once I found Blush, I was super eager to start and like to get going. So it was nice not having to like think about it and like mull over the decision, that you can just like hit the ground running and get going and like start working.
Totally. We have like a very fast turnaround from like sign up to being like starting the process, which I think is great, because a lot of people are like, you know, wait till they get to the point where they're like, I literally need to talk to someone right now. And so it's good that we can like have that quick turnaround. And our tech is just so freaking cool with the app and everything. So it's cool that, you know, you can do a session on your phone, or you can go, I have so many clients that go on walks during our session, you know, like whatever that looks like. So it's so cool. Okay, this next question is going to be fun. So how would you describe your relationship with your Blush coach?
And I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to her right now. It's actually amazing. Like it just makes me, I said this in the beginning, but I'm always looking forward to our sessions, and I like text my friends. I'm like, oh, I have life coaching today. And I kid you not, one of my friends the other day, I told her, I was like, oh, I can't talk this afternoon because I'm like talking to my life coach Elise. And she's like, honestly, your life coach sessions sound lit. And I'm like, they are. I'm not making this up. That's exactly what she said. And it just feels like you've known me for so much longer than I've been working with you, because we clicked right away. So it's just super easy, and it doesn't feel like you're being like coached. You know what I mean? It does, in the sense that you give me like really good advice and like help me think about things in different ways, but I don't feel like I'm sitting in like a therapist's office and they're trying to like interrogate me and like get inside my head. Like you are getting inside my head and like figuring out how I work, but not in like the sense where it feels like that sort of like doctor relationship, I guess you could say, like that. It's way more free spirit, like just like I'm talking to one of my friends and like helping me with the situation, which I think is super important, especially if people have had like bad experiences in the past with either, if it was some sort of coaching situation or therapy situation, it doesn't have that same feeling. And I think that could be really beneficial and make a big difference to people if they're looking for some sort of coaching relationship through Blush.
Yeah, I think that you're talking about like the foundation of the process, which I think is like a true, genuine friendship, right? And I think, you know, some people might come into it and be like, oh, well, like you're paying for the service, so I'm sure it just like feels forced, but like truly it's not. And I think anybody who sees like these interviews can see that it's a testament of like, I actually am obsessed with you, and I'm like, so I love you. Yeah, I love you so much. And, you know, like we don't just talk about like coaching, right? Like we're friends on Instagram and we're like messaging each other back and forth at 11 p.m.
about Shawn Mendes.
Shawn Mendes and how attractive he is and how much we love him, you know? So it goes so much. Yeah, so far beyond just like, this is a service and let me give you the service and then it ends there. Like we definitely build like true, genuine relationships and friendships. And I think that's just like what's so special about and what's different about Blush compared to, some other services in the mental health field that you might be trying out. Okay, let's talk about benefits that you've gotten out of the process thus far.
So I think overall, it's just really helped me chill out the past few months and not feel like everything is such a rush. I had this like email come to my, or email come to me, an email on my phone, and it was from someone that I like follow on Instagram. She's like a nutritionist and talks about like a whole bunch of different things. And the title was Life is Not an Emergency. And I was like, that's so true. And I feel like that kind of sums up a lot of what we've been working on and like in all different aspects, whether that's me thinking about what my next step is, where I'm moving, career, just like everyday anxieties and stressors, just like relax, let it go, surrender, and just like take a step back and then see what happens. And I think no matter how many times you like read a cute little Instagram picture that says that, or you watch like a TED Talk or a YouTube video and they're just saying like, relax, just like step back. I think it really takes having that personal relationship with you and like really going through my different situations to really help me understand and apply that every day. And I think that's helped a bunch.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. That's like, the great, and I don't even feel like that was what we had intended on kind of going for, right? Like it was kind of like, let's focus on what you want to do next and like what the next step of your life is. And then we kind of like veered off onto all these other places. But I feel like the work that we're doing is like so important in just like fulfillment and happiness in life in general. So I'm really, really proud of you. I just it's very
so lucky to have you, and then I got matched with you.
Oh gosh, I couldn't imagine not having you in my life, honestly. Okay, what are we currently working on?
Okay, we had a session on Monday. It's Thursday now, and I'm actually gonna have to think about this. Oh, I did the wholehearted assessment. Yes. What's her name?
Brene Brown.
Yes. So she is a researcher, but also, what else does she do?
She's in like the mental health field, and she's just like the queen of all, literally everything. I'm like bow down to Brene, but yes. She has that the Gift of Imperfections book. And so we did the wholehearted inventory. You did that before you're going to read the book. And it's cool with Taylor and I do a lot of like assessments, and we like, either do them in session together and process out loud, or she'll do them for homework and then come and we'll go through the results together. So we did that. We went through all of that and kind of like analyzed everything. And then we're doing the values.
Yeah, which I'm so excited about, because I think one of the first things you asked me during our first session was like, who are you? And I'm like, oh, that's an easy question. I'm like, I like going to the beach. I like wakeboarding. I like working out, like basic things that someone would probably answer when they say, who are you? And she's like, no. But like when you were trying to get me to explain who I am without including what I'm involved in or like what I'm passionate about or career stuff or friend stuff. And I was like, that's a great question. And I'm really not sure how to answer that. So I think that's just kind of been like an underlying thing I've been thinking about through all of our sessions. So now next week, I'm doing Elise's amazing values worksheet little book. It's pretty long, like it's thorough. Yeah. To really figure out like what I value in different areas of my life to try to get that like basis, because I definitely feel like I'm a very value-driven person, but I don't know if I can necessarily articulate what those values are. So I think this is going to be super, super good.
Yeah, that's such a good way of laying it out. And I think, regardless of what your goals are when you start this process, I think like the pieces of self-awareness and self-discovery are like two huge pillars in the process. So I love that we're able to like incorporate that into the work that we're doing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I can't wait.
Yay. Okay, so who do you think is a good candidate for Blush?
Honestly, this is like generic, but I'll make it less generic. I think anyone could be a good candidate for blush as long as you're willing and like open to being vulnerable and working on yourself. Like if you go in and you just want to chat about like random things but aren't really willing to dive in and really think about what you're talking about during your sessions, or willing to like make changes or try things out that may make you like uncomfortable at first, you probably aren't going to benefit from it. But I think people of like really any age, high school, college, like midlife, like really anywhere, I think you can really connect with a blush coach, because there's definitely an amazing team of like all different people that I can tell from the website that come from all different walks of life. So I think you're never really too young or too old to benefit, as long as you're willing to put the work in and really try to apply what you do and talk about in your sessions.
Yeah, I love that. We've been really intentional about making sure that everybody who comes on our websites sees a reflection of themselves from our team, because we want to make sure, like we said, like the relationship and the friendship piece and like empathy and just understanding of what it's like to, you know, be in your shoes. That's like a huge piece of this process. So we make sure that, you know, everybody feels like they have someone that they can relate to on our team, which I think is really, really cool. Okay.
Yeah, that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, totally. Last question, which I'm sad about because that means that this thing is almost over.
I know, I was so excited. I was like, ooh, 2 sessions, like video chats with Elise in 1 week. Like, it's great.
I love you. Okay, the last question is, what advice would you give to someone who's considering joining Blush or just starting out?
I would say, and I think I realized this in like the past few weeks, is that kind of like what I was saying before, just like be open to like exploring different topics and like different things in your life that you might not have expected. Like I think week 1, I went in and I was like, oh, we're going to talk about like what I want to do like career wise, or like what my next move is. And you're like, well, usually like I try to put things into buckets, like life, career, relationships, self-work. And usually we start on self. And I was like, that makes sense. Like you want to start with that like good foundation of who you are and like what you want in life and like what you value before you start talking about career and relationships and friendships and whatever else you might want to work on. So I think just being aware of like, okay, what self-work do I need to do in order to make everything else happen in my life is like a really good mindset and like way to dive into Blush and life coaching.
Amen. I love it. And I love you. Thank you so much.
No, I love you so much.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. And I will see you next week. Mwah.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.